All right, we're gonna grow onions from seed. There are at least 3 or 4 different ways you can grow onions. One, you can just take a little mini onion bulb and plant it directly in the garden, but we're gonna go next level and we're gonna start ours from seed this season. I mean, are we pros or what? So this is the Australian brown onion. This is from Baker Creek. I'm gonna read to you what it says on the back before we put this into the soil. So it sprouts in 7 to 14 days. The ideal temp is 45 to 80 degrees. This means we can start it without a heat mat. The seed depth is 1/4 inch. That means don't bury it. And then once it's out in the garden, it's gonna go 4 inches apart. And it is frost hardy, yay. But it needs full sun, like 6 to 12 hours a day. So these seeds look very similar to leek seeds. They're in the same family. It's the Amarilla daceae family, or the onion family, or the garlic family, or the leek family, whatever, oniony thing you prefer. So I have bought these, especially for our company where we're putting in gardens. We buy little trays of onions and they come, a ton of them in one little container. And we separate them out and plant them in the garden. And I've learned from experience that works. It works really well. So that's how we're gonna start our onion seeds indoors. We're gonna start them really closely together. So I'm trying to decide how I wanna do this. I think I'm gonna do this in this Coco Core container. So I'm gonna take a seed starting mix and I'm going to fill up the container about 2/3 of the way. And then I'm going to plant out my onion seeds. So I'm gonna plant these pretty intensively, not because they're gonna grow that way to maturity, but we're gonna grow them that way until they're ready to move out into the garden. And the good news is onions can move out into the garden really early. As soon as the soil can be worked and it's not, really hard anymore, onions can go out into the garden. So it's really not gonna have to stay indoors for a really long time. So here I have my onion seeds. I probably put out here about 30, 40, we'll see. So I'm just going to sprinkle these on top. I'm not going to take a ton of care to spread them out like I do for my other seeds. And I can come back in later and thin them if I need to. But this is how we're gonna do our onion seeds. So just literally covering the surface of the soil and then pressing it down to make sure all of it has really good soil contact. So this is not how they're not gonna grow to maturity this way, okay? We're just getting them started. And then as soon as they start to get bigger, we'll separate them out. And if we run out of time before we can move them out into the garden, no biggie, we'll just move them into a couple of other pots, bigger pots, until they're ready to graduate outdoors. So I'm gonna cover these up a little bit with just a little bit of seed starting mix. These are gonna go under lights after they sprout. So they can just sit here. You can put a little cover on them to maintain their moisture level. But as soon as you start to see green, then it is time to turn on the lights. And as I read to you, they need 6 to 12 hours of sunlight. So we're gonna create artificial light with this light source here. You can do it in a fancy setup, but you can also do it just, on a table with this cute little portable light here. So the thing about these lights is you really do want them very low over your plants. You do not want them super high away. This light is nothing compared to the power of the sun. And so proximity really is a deal breaker. So you'll have your onions. We could have, say, 3 rows here. And then you want to be turning on this light and having it on the onions about 12 hours a day. So you're just going to have this light. I could have 3 different pots here, probably even about 9 could fit into this space to utilize all this light. And you really do want your lights that low. You want them this close to your container as they're growing. This is the case for anything that needs to be grown under lights. You want the light very close. You don't want the light to touch the leaves, but you want the light to be very close to the leaves as they're starting to grow. So this is how you're gonna do your onions. These need to be under lights for about 12 hours a day. And then we'll start to follow them and see the sprouts come up. And as time passes, we'll then move these out into the garden. And believe it or not, they're gonna become this. Crazy, right? All right, I hope you will go for it and try to grow some onions from seed with me this season. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.